All right, I'm on hole number 1 of the Liberty Tournament and Monday's practice round of the Rookie Division. Yeah, it's practice. It's practice time. Let's go check out Golf Clash Notebook and see what we got going on here. Where are we at here? Golf Clash Notebook, hole number 1. All right, these par 4s. There's 2 of them. This one right here, and I think hole number 4. In the past, I mean, obviously there's lots of different ways that you can play these holes, but in the past, I've always come here with a Saturn and played them with a Saturn. Now, on this particular hole, there's a cut line, and I could go back and watch one of my older videos, but you can see where the cup is at right here, and it's right on this cut line. And so there's 1 row of cut, and then there's 2 rows of cut. Somewhere between the first, in this row right here, I'm going to start off about halfway in that. And I want my bounce to actually get up here on the fringe, and I'm going to put right-hand side spin on it so that the ball will come and stop, and then gravity will roll it back down the hill, so it's just rolling straight down the hill. If you put any left-hand side spin on here, when it hits, it's going to follow the terrain of the course, and it's going to just throw it way out here. But I want the ball to hit, spin to the right, come to a stop, and then roll down that hill. And I'm going to do in my notes from the last time we played this, which I think was the Coast to Coast tournament, I had a plus 10%. And every time we get this, it's finding the spot. Anytime you're doing big backspin shots or any of these kind of shots, these types of holes, to me, at least for my game, these are not high percentage hole-in-one holes. You can be right there, but it's not one of those ones that there are some holes in this game that if you hit it just perfect and you're there, it's like a hole-in-one every time. These holes are not, in my opinion, not those types of holes, but they could be, I guess, depending on where you find a spot. And the reason I say that they're not for me is look at all of the freaking terrain. I mean, we have a trough going down through here. We've got a ridge that runs like this. This slope has got a little ridge here, and this is going up, and this is going up. This is all sloped up. It's going up the hill. I mean, these greens they're not flat. You can't, these areas out here, if you wanted to bring it back at distance and then try and run it up, it's not like you're running it up and then your ball's hitting and then your ball can just run flatly to the green. There's terrain movement here. And these types of holes I always find to be, for my own personal game, to be low percentage. But I want to give myself a shot at it. So let's take a Saturn. Saturn. Switch this one out for a Saturn. Make sure I got 1 bag at least with a Saturn in it. What kind of ball do I want? Marlin, Navigator. I want to take a Marlin. I may have to up that to a Navigator, not sure. Let's go in and play some golf. Get her done. And I'm doing a plus 10%. So no matter what, it's 1.1 times whatever the wind is. We'll do the wind first and then try and get the setup. I'm going to start off about 1.5 cuts above the cup. This is where we need the elevator music. Let's see if I can get matched up with anybody. Hole in One, the Hole in One clan. David goes first. Yeah, those 2D pictures when you're looking at the flat pictures, just do not do, like, look at all of the movement on that course, on that green, and all of the approach stuff to it. There's just, these types of holes are lots and lots of movement. And I've taken this shot that my opponent's taking from this area, trying to ride this ridge right here. I've taken this shot quite a few times. There is an area in there where that you can feed it up to it. I think I learned that when I first started, when these holes first came out. I think That's the way I was playing it. Watching Zachary Jones play these holes back in the day. These holes originally came out in the 2017 Christmas tournament. They were the Christmas holes. And they got renamed, I think, in the New York Classic. Max backspin. Max backspin. All the side spin I can put on it. There's the cut. There's the first cut. I'm going to go right on the transition between the first and the second. Right there on that transition. Let's see what happens. 4-4. It's 4.4. It's 4.8 rings divided by 1.9. And remember what club I'm using, 2.54 rings. Hitting it perfect. Just so that was right on the break. So that was right here on that break. So I'm gonna split this next one and go halfway next time and see if that will work for me. Using a Marlin and max backspin, right side spin. Try and get it to just roll. The thing about putting that right hand side spin on there is it runs down pretty true. It's not doing an arc when it runs down. And so the ball came to a stop up there and then just rolled truly down the slope. So if you can find the spot out here, it is pretty consistent. Hey, I've got the right stuff. I'll practice this hole. I'll practice it since we're in a practice day here, because on this hole, which hole is this? I think this is hole number 4. And I'm doing a very similar thing here. I'm doing plus 10%. I'm starting off at 10%. I have no idea. I know, like I talked to my teammates this morning about what the elevations were, and I had looked at my previous notes from playing these holes and had some base elevations just so that I know that there's some elevation adjustments and kind of get an idea of what we're looking at. But as the week goes on, I'm not married to any of those numbers. My whole goal is to try and hit, and I've got a couple holes that I don't have any elevations for. So I'm going to just go in and hit just normal shots and try and work those elevation numbers as the week goes on. Go right at it. 3.9 divided by 2. 2.1 rings. 2.1 and a half. Yeah, hit it great to the right. Great to the right. Da 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 da. Really kind of seeing distance there. Right at the red line with a Marlin. One of these par threes, we always get at least one of the par threes in a tournament where they give us a headwind, and that hole right there, I believe we've had headwind on before, and so if we get any kind of headwind on that, I'll have to bring a power 1 ball in order to get up there enough to get at it. And my observation on these City Park holes is that headwind, and this is why from one tournament to the next, like we may play on this hole in a tournament and we've got it all dialed in and everybody's like, oh no, dude, it's plus 10%. And the wind was blowing like this. And then the next tournament, the wind's blowing like this, and this 10% is probably not going to work. Because one of my observations on these City Park holes is that whenever you get headwind, this elevation number is definitely going to be different. So don't get married to anything that's out there right now. You have to make sure that it's working for you. And I think what a lot of people do is they go, nope, it says 10%. Tommy said 10%, or somebody said 10%, and that's what it is. And they keep doing that all week, and they keep ending up off on one side or the other. You got to look at which way the wind's blowing and look at where you're landing on perfect shots. And if you're off, you have to adjust this number. Don't get married to it. This number can fluctuate. All right. I'll get off my soapbox. That was hole number 1 of the Liberty Tournament in Monday's practice round in the rookie division. Thanks for watching.